If you want to know how big of a problem hunger is in rural America, spend time at a mobile food bank.
It's 90% of what I consume.
74-year-old Lorna Hall made sure to be the first at this line in Clinton, Missouri.
You've been here since last night.
Yeah.
It's that important to get what you need.
Yes. And I don't keep the car running. I can't afford the gas, so I have sleeping bags to stay warm.
Folks here share a similar raw reality.
I still feel bad that I have to come up here and sit on a line, to get food. It's embarrassing as hell.
Leo and Donita Barnett are among the 175 households receiving food today.
Thank God we got it. We'd probably be sitting down there laying underneath a tree somewhere.
It's a matter of life or death.
It is. It is.
Pastor Marty Reese oversees the distribution.
We're in serious times. People are struggling. Cost of living has went up. Everything has went higher.
Are you seeing more people coming through these lines?
We used to see maybe 50 to 60 cars. It's doubled, and it's probably going to get worse.
Feeding nearly 375,000 people falls on Harvesters, a nonprofit food network. But cuts to government programs, including more than $1 billion in federal food aid, along with rising inflation, translates to fewer donations than previous years. 1 in 7 people in 27 counties across Kansas and Missouri are food insecure.
So this is all donations right here.
Elizabeth Kiefer says the need is the highest it's been in a decade. And they expect more people as the government shutdown continues and SNAP payments are withheld.
We don't have the finances to get groceries. If it wasn't for these food pantries and Feeding Tampa Bay, we wouldn't be able to survive. And that's really tough.
Well, right now, there are more than 1,000 people in line here at Feeding Tampa Bay to try and get food assistance. Look at all that. The line has been going for several hours now as people wait for Feeding Tampa Bay to open up. That's because the SNAP benefits that they had relied on have expired, and this month's payments have not yet arrived. The federal government does say that they're going to be providing potentially half of those payments after a court order, but it remains to be seen as to when those payments can be sent. Right now, there are 500,000 people in Tampa Bay who depend on SNAP payments, and right now it is unclear as to when those payments are going to be coming in. Feeding Tampa Bay says they expect 1,000 people to try and get extra food to feed their families over the coming days.
Greetings, family. How are you doing? Welcome back, and thank you for the support. So across rural America, hunger is silently taking over. As seniors, families, and children are now spending hours at food bank pantries just to get a few bags of food that barely last even a week. The government decision to cut food stamp program, a program that supported over 42 million Americans, has left millions, especially seniors and low-income families, in despair. So these are people standing in food bank pantries. They have waited for 4 hours, and sometimes they don't even get the food. It's so heartbreaking to see people who have worked even their whole lives standing in long hours just to get food. So let's get to see the reactions, then we come back with commentary, and kindly hit the subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments, all right? Let's dive into it.
It is as dire as you could possibly imagine. The situation is right now, it is the Monday after SNAP benefits were turned off this weekend. And I just got done volunteering for the last 3 hours at my local food pantry. We had a walk-in service for 1 hour and served 43 people. That is just walk-ins alone, 43 people. Now, I do not live in the most impoverished county in Illinois. So the fact that in 1 hour on a Monday, 2 days after SNAP has been cut off, 3 days at this point, right? It's the third, that we had 43 people come in. And the majority of them were elderly and mothers with children. And I was talking to a woman, and she said that she had not been in here in years because she didn't need it. And now she was back. So if you don't think what's happening, I'm not going to cry on this app, is not as dire as it is, go to your local food pantry and help and see what actually is happening in this country right now, because it's so fucked up. Take the time out to do something, whether it's your time or a few dollars, whatever it is, do something to help your fellow human, because the fact that we are starving elderly people and disabled people and children is fucking violence. So if you stuck around this long, thank you, because anything that I make off of this video is going to go right back to this food pantry where I was.
Are Donald Trump and the Republicans ending small towns? Because let's face it, small towns can't survive without being subsidized by big blue-leaning cities. I mean, that's just the math. The tax dollars that keep rural grocery stores open, that fund hospitals and pay for food stamps, yeah, most of that comes from urban America. And yet on November 1st, Donald Trump's shutdown is about to cut off the biggest rural lifeline that there is, SNAP benefits. And here's the kicker. 78% of all food stamp dollars go to red counties and red states. Billions that get spent in local stores, farms, and gas stations. This is money that keeps towns alive. And when that money stops, everything stops. Grocery stores go dark. Delivery trucks reroute. Jobs, they vanish, and families go hungry. So is Donald Trump trying to bankrupt small town America? Because if this were just about fiscal responsibility, you wouldn't target the towns that depend most on federal money. Maybe the truth is that small town America has become too expensive to run, too spread out, and too dependent on blue cities. And maybe this is the plan. Let the small towns fail, consolidate power, and let the survivors move to bigger, denser, more controllable cities. Either way, though, these cuts don't hurt the coast. They crush the countryside. And when the heartland goes broke, so does America.
The Attorney General of Kansas is asking the courts not to give SNAP benefits to the residents of Kansas. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. If you live in Kansas, if you have seen the farmers in Kansas bemoaning the fact that they may lose their farms, or if you're just interested in how these SNAP benefits are going to be distributed, you need to understand what the Attorney General of Kansas has just done that's going to hurt potentially the citizens and residents of Kansas. So the governor of Kansas is a Democrat. She joined the lawsuit to force the government to provide SNAP benefits in November to the citizens of her state. The Attorney General of Kansas filed an amicus brief today within Massachusetts, telling the court that the governor, Laura Kelly, does not have the right to file a lawsuit asking for SNAP benefits for the citizens of Kansas. According to the Attorney General of Kansas, the governor has no standing to sue. What she is doing is unlawful, and he is asking that her complaint, her participation in the lawsuit to get benefits for the residents, the citizens of the state of Kansas, be dismissed. If you are a citizen, a resident of the state of Kansas, how do you feel about this? If you are a farmer in the state of Kansas, a farmer who was on this internet begging and crying and telling us that we need to be concerned about your farm and the potential loss of your farm, how do you feel about the Attorney General of your state asking the judge that your state be dismissed from the lawsuit and your citizens not receive food aid? I really want to know what you think in the comments.
16% of SNAP benefit recipients are Hispanic. 26% of SNAP benefit recipients are Black. And 35% of SNAP benefit recipients are white. So we live in a country with an administration who's willing to starve its own political base simply to make some sort of convoluted political point that no one understands. Because it doesn't make sense. That is all.
It's not just SNAP benefits that are being cut. Food banks are also losing any food that they would be receiving from the USDA to help feed people. See, the USDA helps prop up farmers and corporations that provide food by buying it and then providing it to food banks and food pantries around the country to help feed hungry people in those neighborhoods. Even though SNAP benefits can provide 9 meals for every single meal that is provided at a food bank or food pantry. And the USDA is now canceling those meals too. Look at this.
Tim and Alex. So, Alex, these are the food deliveries canceled by the Trump administration. 2,300 gallons of milk, 29,000 pounds of turkey breast, 1,200 gallons of milk in Kentucky, 270,000 eggs. And we just have an election where the price of eggs was determinative. These are all orders canceled by Donald Trump.
People who rely on these programs are going to starve. Children are going to starve. And don't tell me you care about children if you support the removal of benefits and the destruction of food security for American citizens and U.S. residents. You can't say both in the same breath, just like you can't support what's going on and still claim to be a Christian.
We all just collectively got the email in southeastern Oklahoma that we will not be getting our food stamps starting November 1st, and this is probably one of the scariest times as a parent that I've had to think about this, and I don't know what to do. This is genuinely so messed up, and so I want you guys to be aware, so very intentional that they would do this right before Thanksgiving and Christmas. I can't even fathom. So while everybody's taking trips and going in their private planes, there's going to be thousands of children without food this month if they don't open back up. Like, I don't understand how government officials are getting thousands and thousands of dollars every single day, but the people who don't make thousands and thousands of dollars every single day are the ones being punished. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get how they're still getting paid and everything's still good with them. They'll get to go home to their mansions and their fridge is full of food, and then the lower class people just get to what? Like, this is going to cause an uproar. Oh my God.
And these same people online crying about food stamps, crying about how I'm going to feed my kids, are these same people who look down their noses at people in rural areas, who look down their nose at people on farms, who look down their noses at growing your food. But you know what the people in the rural areas and the homesteads, you know what they're not going to be? Hungry. You and your ancestors got tricked out of what real wealth is. But the wild part is, you look down your nose at the people who are self-sufficient, and you need the government to feed yourself and your kids. This is not the elderly. This is not disabled. You guys know who I'm talking to. Yup.
What's happening right now in rural red states is more than just a hunger crisis. It's a human tragedy unfolding in real time. Many of these people live in rural communities, already had fewer grocery stores, limited access to affordable food, and almost no public transportation. When the safety nets were removed, they were left completely exposed to the harsh reality of inflation and rising living costs. Think about that for a second. Elderly men and women, many who work their whole lives, are now standing in the line for 4, sometimes even 5 hours, hoping there's still food left when it's finally their turn. Some leave empty-handed because the donations ran out before everyone is served. That's not just sad, that's unacceptable for a country as wealthy as America. And what's even more painful is that many of the same people that overwhelmingly voted for leaders who promised to bring jobs back, to restore prosperity, and to make America great again, today many are realizing that slogans don't fill empty plates. The reality on the ground is that grocery prices have skyrocketed. Milk, eggs, bread, everything costs more. Rent is up, utilities are up, and for those living on fixed incomes, the math simply doesn't work anymore. Food banks, which are served as an emergency backup, have now become the primary source of meals for millions, but they too are overwhelmed. Rising inflation means fewer people are able to donate, while more families are showing up in need. Some pantries organizers say they've never seen anything like this before. Shelves are going empty faster than they can restock them. Volunteers are exhausted, and funding is dying up. This hunger crisis is not about politics anymore. It's about human lives. It's about grandparents choosing between food and medication. It's about parents skipping meals so their children can eat. It's about pride and dignity slowly being replaced by desperation. And yet through all the struggle, there are glimmers of compassion, neighbors sharing what little they have, community groups coming together to run small pantries out of garages, church parking lots turning into food distribution points. These acts of kindness remind us that the American spirit of caring for one another is still alive, even when leadership fails. But compassion alone can't fix systematic neglect. It's time for leaders, regardless of political parties, to face the truth. Rural America is hurrying deeply, and it needs real help, not just empty promises or campaign speeches. The people in these communities deserve access to food, healthcare, and dignity. And if America can spend billions on wars, weapons, and corporate bailouts, sadly, it can afford to feed its own citizens. No senior should ever go hungry in the richest country on earth. So as we watch these heartbreaking images of seniors waiting hours for food, we should ask ourselves, where did compassion go wrong? How did the most hardworking people end up here? And more importantly, what are we going to do about it? Because hunger doesn't care who you voted for. It doesn't care what color your state is, It's a crisis that touches every part of humanity. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.